I guess we're live. Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Hey.
All right. Welcome.
Yes, we are back. We are back.
Welcome to our SoundMind Panel, everybody.
That's right, because everybody on here got a sound mind. You
That's
believe
right.
that? You believe that?
Well, you know, like
Cheese on the moon.
the commercial say 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
See, that's all right. That's all right. You
Welcome,
gonna read what you
everybody.
sow.
Right?
Hey, everybody. Reverend Timmy, I'm gonna behave.
It's impossible.
Don't behave on my account. Be yourself. Crazy as always. All of y'all.
Reverend, you sound like you got a southern accent. Are you from anywhere down yonders? You do.
No, you know they used to tell me. I grew up in Philadelphia. They used to tell me that all the time.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna let it get you.
Really? I don't hear it.
Yeah.
When I grew up in Philly, they used to say, "Why do you always say y'all? You would think you was from down south." The way
Y'all be all right.
y'all be all right. Y'all, why y'all?
Y'all all right.
Hi, welcome everybody.
Hi, everybody.
In celebration of the Valentine's Day month, the month of love, we're talking about self-love. We're talking about love in general. So jump on in. You know, this is everybody's favorite topic. They love talking about relationships and love and romance and
some people just love. Some of us just love love, right?
Face.
I just love love.
I just love love, right? So let's join in on the discussion today. We're talking self-love and all that good stuff. So we don't have a lot of time. So when you come on, hi Bridget.
How are you?
I'm Myra's here.
How are you? Welcome everybody. Please like, share, use the comment section to let us know where you're coming on from and share your questions with us so that you can be a part of the discussion. We love that.
Yes.
So you can join in with us. Hi. So welcome. All right. So let's jump in, okay? And start talking about self-love, right? And the love month. And I think when we go into Valentine's Day month, believe it or not, if people have mixed feelings about this month, right? Especially if they are struggling with loneliness, maybe they don't have a partner. They try to find ways to do some self-care or sometimes they feel really depleted and like, you know, I feel weird and strange about doing something for myself. Shouldn't somebody else be loving on me and and we get in our heads this time of month, right? Even when we have a significant other or we're married, you know, the conversation about expectations come up, right? What we expect from other people. And for some of our creative folks, they try to find ways to creatively show love to other people. But either way, it comes with a mix of feelings for different people situationally. And so our task today is to maybe give you some tools on how to navigate this month and have a discussion, an open discussion about what it's like and ways that we can approach the love month, right? So let's start with self-love, right? Let's start tackling self-love and what that actually means. So when you hear that a lot of the community now in the day and age we're living in, people talk a lot about self-love, meaning self-care. It's a big thing now. We always talk about self-care. And but let me hear from the panel about when you hear about self-love, what comes to mind and what we may be able to do to provide some support for people listening today.
I think the greatest myth about self-love is that self-love means perfection. Like we have to be perfect in order to love ourselves, which is crazy because none of us are perfect and will ever be perfect. There's always going to be some things that we like about ourselves and some things that we don't like about ourselves. So I think when we talk about self-love, it's loving the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent. Just embracing all of you, whether it's something you're still working on, something that you like, something that you don't like. I think that's the greatest myth, that we have to be perfect to love ourselves and accept ourselves. But I think from a biblical perspective, obviously, God wants us to love ourselves as we are. And I think that's the most important thing for me. That's the important thing that I had to learn early on was, okay, I'm not perfect. I'll never be perfect, but I can still love myself in spite of my flaws and my setbacks and all those things that are not complimentary.
Pastor P, are you saying that we should have acceptance?
Self-acceptance? Is that what I hear?
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
I'm on the wrong channel. I'm on the wrong channel. No.
Self-acceptance is actually a thing.
Yes.
We don't have to be perfect.
Right. And then I think sometimes, especially single people, we're looking for someone to accept me as I am. But first you have to accept yourself as you are. Because all of that, that you bring that energy to a relationship and you're wanting somebody to accept you as you are, but we don't even accept ourselves as we are. So it's looking in the mirror and saying, you know what? Yes, I got a big head. That's my sore spot, y'all. Right? But I still love myself. Right? In spite of. And I mean, that doesn't happen overnight. That's not, you get saved on March 1st and March 2nd. I love everything about me. It's a process. And it's just allowing God to show us who we are. And if he loves us in spite of us, so we can love ourselves in spite of ourselves.
And
you got some burning response.
How'd you know that?
You always tell, right?
Because I hear what you're saying. You're really, once again, talking about self-acceptance. And I think what happens when we don't do that, we look for validation in other people. And we look for other people to fix what we feel is broken in ourselves instead of trying to validate our own selves. So that self-acceptance is important. So we're not looking for that in anybody else because no one's going to bring it to you. And I think we end up in a lot of bad relationships, friendships, love relationships, all that, because we're looking for someone else to fix us instead of accepting ourselves just as we are.
Right. I agree with that.
I think I agree with everything you said. The self-love piece that, like Reverend T says, goes into self-care. I think you got to be careful of the next step that it becomes selfish. Because I think we're in a time now where we're fighting over the word love in our society for what it really means. Now, for us, we know what it means. For those that are viewing, we know in the faith what it means. Because the pressures of Valentine's Day, I mean, you can go broke trying to live up to Valentine's Day. And as great a day as it can be, there can be a pressure that goes with it based on the thing. And television doesn't help. Doesn't help. Now, there's nothing wrong with getting nice things, but they can show all the diamonds they want on TV. I don't see, people are not going to necessarily run out and grab those diamonds right there and then. But what is it that you can celebrate in that day and, still have it be valuable? But I like the part, first of all, where are you personally? When you get to the day? Do you love yourself? And again, not from the selfish perspective, but do you appreciate who God has made you to be, or how you've become the person God wants you to be? And or maybe you're learning how to love. Sometimes we want to celebrate something we haven't necessarily grown into.
Yeah. I love that because love is a process. It's not a in and out. And learning to love yourself, you love yourself at every stage, at every age.
Yes.
And I think I think some of us struggle in trying to stay the same, and life doesn't happen that way. Reverend Hussey, what you were saying that. I think Bishop says all the time, don't tell me, show me that you love me. And I don't need a day to do that. Valentine's Day is nice. I don't need to do, I can love you every day of the year. I don't have to have a Valentine's Day to do that. But I think what happens, we get caught in the commercialism of it. And feel like we have to go out and do the thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like getting things and that's all nice. But I know that the love that I'm looking for is not grounded in just one day.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Deacon LeGrue, you also alluded to something that you said about like we think that these things are going to fix something that's broken within us, right? That like the gifts and the words of affirmation are somehow, it's not like when you go take a car to the shop and replace a tire, that these things are tools that are going to fix something that's broken, right? They exist for what they're good for. But if you are feeling invalidated and there's something that is really wrong within you, those things are not going to fix that.
Exactly.
Right? I think, like Reverend Val has said, right? That like we have to watch that perfectionism and wanting these things to come. Like the more gifts I get, the more love I feel. The more they come out to me, the more I must be worth something. Because then those expectations, when they are not met, we feel invalidated, we feel less than, like we're not enough, we're not loved. That is an internal thing that we have to work through. It's not something that we can fix. It's a process.
Right.
Learning and relearning. And like you said, like with every age, with every stage, we grow, we learn, we accept, or we are going to always have this disappointment with things not being able to fix whatever it is that we feel is broken.
But we still have to celebrate too, along this day. I think we have to celebrate the good in us. I think sometimes, we can fall into the, at least I can say for myself, I'm so much want to have the other stuff corrected. I don't celebrate what's already been corrected.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If we sit back and look back where we've come from, just say 5 years ago, forget, 20, 30, back when Pastor Val took George Washington to school.
Right here.
I ain't saying nothing.
If we just celebrate those, I have this piece, I think I've said it before. I have, students write, who am I? And I think that's a revisiting question. And maybe this is the time of year to do it. Maybe it is around Valentine's Day. Who am I today? Who am I now? And start to appreciate that, because maybe sometimes you have to give the Valentine to yourself.
Right. And you know what's so funny, Dr. Hudson? Most people, and I think we all have been here at one time or another, when people ask you, are you reflecting, say, who am I? We start talking about what we have.
Yes, that's good. Very good. Very good.
Who are you? If you don't have any of those things, if you don't have your job, if you don't have who are you? And I think we just have to remember the core of everything, because Deacon Lubu, like you said, one day of good treatment, Valentine's Day, doesn't make up for 364 days where you treated me like something else. You know what I'm saying? So in my opinion, I'm like, don't give me the flowers just on one day. What about the other 364 days? Right. And nobody gets it right all the time. I get that. We all miss the one as it relates to relationships. But to me, it's kind of corny if one day out the year, I love you, I love you, I love you. Well, what about the other 364?
Yeah, we got to fight that commercialism. That if you don't do it this way, you didn't do it. And and I never could figure out, maybe y'all can relate to this. My parents used to always tell me, primarily around Christmas time, when they were growing up, like they would say, well, when I was growing up, I said, what do y'all want? I don't want, I'm just, want y'all to be happy. I'm glad, whatever. I'm like, what do you mean you don't want nothing? And now I'm at this age where I can understand that.
You appreciate
where I can
it.
celebrate Christmas. And just the fact of Lord, thank you for keeping me, family, everybody else another year. Just where I'm at, in that situation. Doesn't mean everything is the way you want it to be, but I don't need to have. Now again, it's nice to have nice things. I'm not shutting that down. But I learned a valuable lesson one year, when Reggie and Alexis were about 6, 7, and 5 years old. We bought all these. The Christmas tree was up. I know we're talking about Valentine's Day, but I'm just saying from that parallel. And all these, and I had all these toys out there that I knew Reggie was going to love. I mean, stuff that I would play with. And he spent most of the afternoon playing with a little Matchbox car.
Wow.
And I learned something that day. I learned something. Because it's good to you, don't mean it's good to them. So it's the same way. I mean, like you say, the best Valentine's is how about just keep being kind. And then it's good to go to dinners, it's good to go to cards, it's all that stuff. But like you said, beyond when the 15th comes. Now, personally, Valentine's Day is a little for us because that's when our church burned down. But I always go through a little something on that day. But I thank God now.
Right.
Return it and thank God for that.
Right.
Because he showed enough love, nobody was in the building.
Right. That could have gone a whole different way.
Absolutely.
But it took about 7 years to get there.
Right.
So I think this is really good, right? So we're talking like Valentine's Day is coming up. We're not saying not to celebrate and that people shouldn't buy things for each other and things like that. Sister Logan said that her and some of, I guess, her sister friends, they make reservations to a dinner and concert and celebrate themselves. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Like these are things that we should be doing, showing our loved ones and people that we care about. You know, if we want to make that day special for them, go all out. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Yep. But it could look different for everybody. I think Dr. Hudson was kind of pointing that out, right? Like what you need and what helps you feel connected to your person or maybe a family member or your children on that day could look different. But we should respect what other people want and need too, especially like our spouses or our friends, and not try to people that just like overdo it, right? They just everything has to be big just because they just want it to be for the sake of it being big.
Right.
And sometimes the person is like, I really did not need that.
Right. I don't even like chocolate.
Like, did you really do that for me, or did you do that for social media? Did you do that to feel good about yourself? Yes. Or did you do that because you actually were thinking about me? Were you thinking about likes, or were you thinking about me?
Exactly. And especially at a time where financially it's not to go out and splurge.
The intention behind things that we do matter. I think one of the best Valentine's Day I had was me and Pastor Nick sitting at Chick-fil-A. It was like 9:00 at night. It was super late before we had the kids. We didn't want to go to any restaurants. They were super crowded. We were driving around forever. And then he was like, you want to just eat.
Think about waiting 4 hours to eat.
I was like, you want to just eat? I was like, I sure do. I could do a sandwich real quick. We went in and sat down and had like one of the best talks.
See?
And I think we left feeling like so connected. Like that was so much fun.
Right. Just old-fashioned conversation, right?
And just enjoying someone's company. And that doesn't mean that I would do that every year.
Right.
But but everybody needs something different. And our intentions and how we show love to people matter. Right. So what's something that you guys do? Like what helps, you feel special? What's something, and like those of you that are listening, what's something that really makes
do I hear a disco beat or what?
I know, right?
Actually, you hear our rehearsal in the background. I'm I should have them turn that thing down because they're blasting and they haven't started rehearsing yet.
Wait a minute.
You're messing up our love vibe. You're gonna play something, put on Luther Vandross. I'm just kidding, saints.
All right. We're getting ready to turn it up Sunday, so don't play.
Right.
Don't play. We rehearse like we worship.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Reverend, I guess to answer your question, what are the things that we do? I mean, it's the small things for me. It's a note or a card or with a note in it. All this other stuff is nice, but it's just a reminder. If you choose to do it that way, it's just a reminder, that I do love you. I'll think about it, but I do love you. My husband came home. We've been together 40-something years at this point. He came home at the kitchen table like a couple weeks ago. You know what? I had a revelation. I'm like, really? What? I think I love you. I'm like, really? It only took 44 years for that.
I think I love you.
After 44 years. Okay.
You better.
Hey, get in where you fit in.
Right.
Oh my gosh. But just to follow up, I think either Dr. Hudson said it earlier about the difference between like and love, for me, it really is the like that matters. It's, do you like the person? Do you like yourself? What are those things that you enjoy about? What are those things you enjoy about being with the person? Just being by yourself. I used to do a group and I'd ask people, what do you like about yourself? And they go, I said, you have 2 seconds to respond. That should not take that long. What is one thing you like about yourself? We don't give thought about this. So even if we just use this time to say or reflect, what is that I like about myself? I'm not perfect, not where I thought I would be, but what is it that I like about myself? So that can just roll off our tongue, and just our mind can be set that God created me as I am, and this is what I like about myself. So even if we use it that way, yep.
Right. And I think learning to enjoy your own company, because I'm amazed even now how many people will never, ever, ever go out to eat by themselves.
Yeah.
Like they just won't do it. And I'm like, well, why? If you're hungry and you're on the road and you want to eat, but I don't know if it's sometimes we're not comfortable in our own skin, or we look like we think people are going to judge us if they see us sitting at a table by ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is all about, but I think Dr. LeBou, Deacon LeBou, what you said, just thinking about what do you like about yourself.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think the other thing that gets us in trouble in trying to answer that question is we're constantly, consciously and subconsciously comparing ourselves to other people.
Yes.
Yep.
Right? No, what do you like about yourself? Forget about everybody else. Well, I don't sing like her. What do you like about yourself? And I think everybody, that's a good assignment for all of us. You just jot down, and it shouldn't take you 20 minutes to come up with one thing.
Yeah. I think you alluded to. I'm sorry, Dr. Hudson.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like Sister Logan is talking about, like, when women at their jobs, it's Valentine's Day and they getting their flowers delivered, and then you're like comparing yourself, right? And it used to drive the single women nerves. Like, and then they go home and then they have a hard time thinking contemplatively like that, right? Like, well, I don't have anybody doing these things for me, and maybe I'm not enough, and like they get a little jealous and things like that. But you gotta start doing those things for yourself,
right?
Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, buy yourself steak and lobster, right? Like, and have no problem with it. Yeah, if you love you open up space for other people to appreciate you as well. But if we sit and wallow and feel bad about ourselves and walk around with our head cast down, it's hard to it's hard to appreciate yourself thinking really negatively about yourself at the same time in the season that you're in.
Right.
Go ahead, Dr. Hudson. I'm sorry.
No. I'm saying, in addition to what you're saying, another fun thing you can do. You can do it anytime, but particularly you can do it on Valentine's Day, whether you go out by yourself or whether you're with a couple. Anonymously pay for somebody else's dinner. Or if you're in the Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts line, pay for the cup behind you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cup of coffee behind you.
Absolutely.
Just those little things like that. And the other one too is I think, which is something I'm not sure if we're always conscious of. What about those seniors?
Yeah.
Some are widowed, some are lived, male and female. I'm talking about have you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And sometimes we can deny ourselves a little bit and say, you know what? Let us get some people together and take them and just show them in that moment.
Right. Because then that takes the focus off yourself.
Yeah.
You did something good for somebody else, and you even forgot that, hey, I wasn't by myself. It's Valentine's Day. I made it through another year on Valentine's Day because I did something for somebody else.
Exactly.
And I think like what somebody said in the comment section, her and her girlfriends plan to go out and have dinner. I think you can't plan to be sad. You got to plan to not be sad. If you're prone to being sad on Valentine's Day.
That's true.
That's a long question.
Yeah, question. I want to ask for help as I feel that I should, and please know that it doesn't matter how small. I will do this in the chat. Okay, I'm not sure what that is. So I think self-love is incredibly important, and I know we're running out of time. Does anyone have any questions for us? I agree, Dr. Hudson too. I keep wanting to call you Deacon Hudson today. Don't ask me why.
Hey, listen.
But I think you're right.
I've been down that road too.
Deacon Dr. Hudson.
I think you're right though. Like, there are sometimes you have neighbors who are single or widowed and they're living alone, own. And sometimes we're so caught up in what we don't have that, or even what we do have, like even like when you're celebrating and you have great people celebrating you, let's not forget about those who don't have someone, don't have someone that are thinking about them and do a good deed to someone, you know, for someone. Really special way to make somebody's day special.
Right. And sometimes it is the little things like, oh my God, somebody brought me coffee.
Yeah.
Or, you know, somebody surprised me with a journal or whatever. It's those little things that go a long way.
Yeah, to be thought about.
Right.
Yeah. What about on Valentine's Day? You decide, you know what? I've been at odds with this person or maybe that problem. Not cat clawing, but that day just make peace.
Give love.
You know what I'm saying? You know?
Yeah.
I'm trying to
buying
make
chocolates for your office.
Writing all day.
Yeah.
Greeting cards or like little chocolates for your office, or doing something for someone at your job that you know has been having a hard season.
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
just something small. Like these are times where if we could think outside of ourselves, sometimes we could really do some good in the world by making the day special for people that feel forgotten about. Everybody should feel loved.
Absolutely.
You know? If you don't have, you know, regardless of what situation, that everybody should feel people are thinking about them.
Right.
To be honest, sometimes it's the people up here that we feel like have it all and don't need anything are the ones most forgotten about. Believe it or not, a lot of the people that we think, you know, that are downtrodden, usually people like
I'm good.
People reach out to them. Good. You know, they drop a money at them all the time, but it's a lot of times the people that are most forgotten about are the people that people think don't need anything. And have it all together, that are in positions like your pastors and your leadership.
Absolutely.
And
Just
your
don't give me no socks, no ties, no drawers.
Nothing. Can I get a Snickers bar, please? Can I just get one Snickers bar? Dark chocolate.
Oh my gosh, we're out of time, you guys.
That is so true.
Yeah, we're out of time. So thank y'all so much. I wish we could talk longer. I feel like we could talk about love and romance and stuff all day long. Maybe next time.
For months and months.
Maybe we'll have a whole lesson on like romance. We'll talk about like real love and romance. Right. But we're gonna let y'all go for today. Don't forget to meet us again next month on the second Thursday of every month for SoundMind Panel. Please share this. We love that y'all are joining us and keeping us going. So remember to share. And we'll see y'all next month.
Sounds good, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.